What if I told you that breaking up could be the best thing to happen to you? Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Thrive Veda, your home for everything mind, body, spirit, so we can live our most inspirational and empowering lives. And this topic today is a deep one. I know it's been a couple more weeks since the last video, but I had to take a hiatus on my own. One that you might be able to relate to, and that's through the idea of heartbreak, and that breaking up is one of the most powerful and, in many ways, sad things that we can experience in our own bodies and ultimately in our own heads and our minds. And it's difficult for a myriad of reasons, but some of these are that we simply have created a habit, a lifestyle around another person. And so when this starts to fall apart, it's as if we lose part of ourselves in this routine. We break out of the comfort zone. And while these are, in this context, kind of sad, if you will, and tragic, of course, on the other side of this, we can find a lot of joy and a way of building ourselves better, bigger, stronger, and more resilient. Another thing that happens when we spend a lot of time with someone is we literally start to create energetic connections. And if you're not familiar with the chakra system, this might be a little foreign to you, but just imagine that it becomes very difficult not to think about this person. And on an energetic level, you are literally connected essentially through a cord, or in some schools of thoughts called an energy cord, to this person. And I'll give you a personal story. I don't tell too many people this, as not everyone can relate to it. However, I think the populace is becoming more and more open to these ideas, which frankly are ancient ideas and deal with subtle energy in the realm of mind, essentially. And if you know the old Hermetic principle of all is mind, then this starts to quickly make sense. Now, I have had a very deep and loving relationship for many years with a particular person. And when I broke up with her a few years ago, I remember that every day that I would sit down to meditate, which has been at that point probably about 7 years, day to day, sometimes twice a day, I would become very in tune with my own thoughts and my own body and the emotions running through my body, the energy in motion in my body. And by becoming so familiar, I noticed shortly after I broke up with her that every time I would sit down to meditate, I could feel a cord, quite literally, an energetic cord, almost moving through space-time, through the ether, so to speak. And on the other side of that cord, I could feel was her presence. I would see her constantly as I sat down to meditate, connected to this cord. And after maybe 3 months or so of this happening every single time I would sit down to meditate, which you can imagine was potentially 150 times, I had a dream, one of those final nights. And in the dream, I saw her, and she said goodbye to me. It felt very real, I can tell you that. And some say the dream world is not as fictitious as we've been led to believe, and that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. And also, it's a bit personal, but I will put it out there. Also, her mom, who probably at this point disliked me as well, was showing me anger in that dream. And after this goodbye in the dream, the next morning, I woke up, did my daily routine of sitting down to meditate, and after that point, I no longer felt this connection through my heart space to hers. This is obviously a very personal story to me, but I decided that to truly connect and truly provide the best medicine I can, it's important to be vulnerable. And hence I'm sharing this with all of you. So how do we fix the state? Firstly, I will point out that for a while, it is important not to try to fix it, not to try to drown it out with friends, with, with partying or with drugs or anything of this nature. First, we want to give it some space to really begin to digest, because otherwise it can potentially stay stuck for a much longer period of time, and eventually we might not even understand why do we feel a certain way, when really it was these deep holding patterns from our heartbreak that we're still holding on to, that will prevent us from really connecting with other people and potentially a mate who fits even better. So it is important to give it some space. Number two, this is also a powerful tool that I utilize in my early years in general from all kinds of simple sadness or general heartbreak, and that's to make art. Often painting is used in art therapy as it is a very flowy technique, and many types of flow will begin to release holding patterns, stress, trauma, and free up that energy to be able to create new things. In fact, some of the best art was born from people's heartbreak. If you think of many poets of the past, they were often in, let's just say, less than happy states. And number three, we could do very well to begin to throw ourselves into new experiences. Of course, after having processed the initial emotions for a while, we can begin to put ourselves into new situations, to revisit old friends or create new ones through these mutual activities that we might enjoy or want to explore. In fact, that is a great way of getting out there and creating new experiences, new patterns, and ultimately a life that is more in line with who you are in your core. And I want to conclude, my friends, that while we cannot control our circumstances, we can control the way we not react, but respond, as this popularized phrase goes. Because at some point we realize that all sensation is energy, and we can begin to alchemize that energy into feelings, into experiences that would better serve us. And ultimately, when we're able to serve ourselves and connect to our core, we can better serve the whole world. In fact, through much heartache, I've realized, as the Greeks themselves have, that tragedy, sadness, actually has a beautiful aspect to it. It is a state that we get to experience here on this earth, because some say when you don't have a physical body anymore, all there really is levels of joy largely. And hence, while we're here, embrace that gut-wrenching feeling, that heartbreak, embrace it and alchemize it, understanding that now you are alive as you feel these powerful emotions, this powerful energy in motion coursing through you, and turn it into something wonderful. I am behind you, as you probably already know, 110%. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. And if you think this could help anyone else, please do definitely give it a like and maybe send it their way. I hope this spoke to you in some way, shape, or form, or that inspired you, or you found it at the very least enjoyable. And I will definitely see you on the next one, my friends. Take care.